Most drivers think they understand their cars well, but the truth is there are countless hidden tips that even longtime drivers don't know. Tips that can save you from danger, help your car last longer, and prevent you from spending hundreds or even thousands of dollars on repairs. The problem is automakers never promote these things, and mechanics rarely mention them. But today, you'll learn 15 tricks that the most experienced drivers use. Just apply them correctly, and you can avoid breakdowns, drive more safely, and keep your car in its best condition. Subscribe to the channel for the latest videos. Three as of 1. Cool down your car extremely fast using the air pumping effect. If you've ever opened your car in the middle of a scorching day, you know how uncomfortable that blast of heat feels. The seats feel like a frying pan, the steering wheel like a hot plate, and the air inside is almost impossible to breathe. But instead of cranking the AC to max and sitting there waiting a full minute for the car to cool down, there's a much faster way, and it doesn't cost a drop of fuel. All you need to do is roll down both rear windows completely, then use the front door like a giant fan. Open and close it about 5 to 7 times. Each swing forces the trapped hot air out while pulling cooler outside air in. As a result, within just a few seconds, the suffocating heat drops significantly. The seats feel less burning, and the cabin becomes much more breathable. This trick works especially well if your car has been sitting under the sun for a long time, or if you use leather seats, which absorb heat even better than a nonstick pan. And the most important part, you're not forcing the AC system to battle a whole chamber of hot air. The air conditioner cools faster and lasts longer, and the car stays evenly cool once you start driving. 2. A manual fuel door release hidden in the trunk. If you've ever pulled up to a gas station and the fuel door refused to open, you know that instant feeling of confusion. You press the button, but nothing happens. The release motor stays silent. The car's electrical system acts strange, and the tank is almost empty. At that moment, you're basically stuck. But what many drivers don't know is that most cars from 2002 onward have a backup mechanism. A manual fuel door release hidden inside the trunk. Just a light pull and the door pops open. No power and no key needed. The difficult part is that this release is usually hidden very well, so most drivers never notice it. Some cars place it tight against the trunk wall, others hide it behind a small plastic cover, and some require lifting the trunk floor liner to see it. That's why many people drive for years without knowing it exists. When the fuel door gets stuck, they assume the car has a serious problem, call roadside assistance, or take it to a shop, when in reality, all they needed was to pull that little release. 3. Auto-tilting mirrors when reversing. Many drivers reverse based on instinct, and only when they hear a soft tap on the curb or see scratches on the wheel do they realize they misjudged the angle. In reality, most curb rash during parallel parking doesn't come from lack of skill. It comes from not seeing the distance between the wheel and the curb clearly. But here's the interesting part. Many modern cars already have a built-in feature that allows you to see this very clearly. Most drivers simply never use it or don't know it exists. It's the auto-tilting side mirror when you shift into reverse. When enabled, the passenger side mirror automatically tilts downward every time you shift into R, giving you a clear view of the rear wheel and the curb. This is especially useful when parallel parking in crowded streets, parking next to high curbs, or maneuvering in tight spots. You simply reverse following the mirror's angle, making the process smoother and much safer. What many people don't know is that this feature is often tied to the seat memory system. You adjust the mirror to the angle you want while the car is in reverse, then save that setting to the seat memory. After that, every time you shift into R, the mirror automatically returns to the exact angle you set. No extra steps, no additional adjustments. 4. Use clear nail polish to temporarily fix glass chips and scratches. Many people assume that a small rock chip on the windshield or a light scratch on the paint is no big deal. But if you've ever seen a tiny crack spread into a large fracture overnight, you know it's not that simple. A windshield that's already damaged can expand quickly if not treated in time, and once it spreads, the only solution is to replace the entire glass, which is far from cheap. Meanwhile, there's an extremely effective temporary fix that very few drivers think of, using clear nail polish. Clear nail polish has one important characteristic. When it dries, it forms a hard, transparent, adhesive coating. This layer is enough to seal small cracks on the glass, preventing water, dust, and air from entering and making the crack spread. The method is simple. Clean the affected area, apply a very thin layer of polish over the crack, let it dry, then apply another layer if needed. Just a few minutes of work can delay a windshield replacement by weeks or even months. Nail polish can also temporarily fix light scratches on the body. If the scratch hasn't penetrated the base coat, you can choose a shade of nail polish close to your car's color to cover it, keeping the car looking cleaner and, more importantly, preventing water from causing rust in that area. 5. Use a potato to prevent window fogging. If you've ever driven on a cold morning or during rainy weather, you know how annoying it is when the inside of your windshield fogs up. You turn on the AC and the defogger and wipe it with your hand. Yet the moisture keeps building up. Fogged windows aren't just inconvenient. They are extremely dangerous because losing visibility for even a few seconds can delay your reaction to what's happening on the road. But there's a very simple, almost zero-cost trick that works surprisingly well, using a raw potato to prevent fog. It sounds strange, but it's easy to do. Cut a potato in half, gently rub the cut side on the inside of the windshield and windows, then wipe it dry with a clean cloth. Potatoes contain starch, and this thin layer of starch creates a clear coating that helps prevent moisture from sticking to the glass. As a result, the windows fog up far less, especially in the morning or during sudden drops in temperature. The biggest benefit is that you don't need a defogging spray or special solution. This is a great trick if your car windows fog up overnight or if you live in a high humidity area. 6. Protect your key fob with aluminum foil to prevent signal hacking. If your car uses a smart key, you should know that the key fob constantly emits a signal, even when sitting in your pocket or on a table. This means thieves can exploit that signal to unlock your car remotely without ever touching the key. It sounds unbelievable, but this type of theft has happened in many neighborhoods across the U.S. Thieves only need to stand near your doorway, use a signal amplifier to capture your key fob signal, then relay it to another device near your car. The car mistakes it for you standing nearby and unlocks itself automatically. The good news is, you can stop this with a very simple trick. Wrap your key fob in aluminum foil. Aluminum acts as a shield, blocking the signal from escaping so the thief's device can't detect it. Just 1 or 2 layers are enough to block the waves. If that's inconvenient, you can store the key in a metal container or even a small tin. Anything with metal walls will do. 7. Rotate your steering wheel 180 degrees to avoid heat. If you've ever parked your car under the sun for a few hours, you know how painful it is to touch a scorching hot steering wheel. Hot enough to make you pull your hand away instantly. Cabin temperatures can rise very fast, and the part that takes the most direct sunlight through the windshield is the steering wheel. Leather or plastic steering wheels can easily reach 140s and tough 158-degree temperatures, hot enough to burn your hands within seconds. The AC hasn't cooled the cabin yet, and you need to steer immediately when starting the car. Extremely uncomfortable and even dangerous if you need to drive right away. But there's a very simple trick most people never think of. Rotate your steering wheel 180 degrees before leaving the car. When you turn the wheel halfway, the part you normally hold moves downward and sits in the shade of the dashboard instead of being exposed to direct sunlight. So when you return to the car, the areas where you place your hands are noticeably cooler. Take 3 seconds to hit the subscribe button to stay updated with the latest videos. 8. Check tire wear using a coin. Many people only check their tires when the car slips slightly on wet roads, the brakes don't feel as strong as before, or when a mechanic tells them, your tires are worn out. But in reality, tires degrade sooner than you think, and their wear level directly affects grip, braking distance, and the overall safety of your vehicle. You don't need any special tools. Just a coin is enough to know whether your tires are still safe. The method is simple. Hold the coin with the head facing downward and insert it into the tire groove. If you can see the entire head above the surface of the tire, that means the groove is too shallow and the tire can no longer provide proper grip. And remember, don't check just one spot. Tires often wear unevenly. The outside may look fine while the inside edge is already near the danger zone. You should rotate the wheel and check several points around the edge for an accurate assessment. 9. Activate the backup system when your key fob battery dies. Most of us have experienced this. You rush to your car to go to work, press the start button, but the car doesn't detect the key. Warning lights come on, the start button doesn't respond, and you assume the key fob is completely dead. The truth is that the battery inside a smart key can weaken over time and fail at the worst moment. But what most people don't know is that even when the key fob battery dies, you can still unlock and start the car normally, as long as you know how to activate the backup system built into the vehicle. Every smart key has two components: the primary system that uses a battery and a backup system that works without power. When the battery is weak, all you need to do is hold the key fob very close to the start button or the sensor area. The car will read the key using short-range contact sensing and allow you to start the engine. 10. Increase your key fob range using your brain antenna. You've probably been in this situation, walking around a parking lot, pressing the key fob repeatedly, but the car doesn't respond. You're too far for the signal to reach, but walking all the way back wastes time. Sounds annoying, right? But there's a very simple trick. It looks a little strange, but it works surprisingly well. Place the key fob on your head or touch it to your temple to extend the signal range. It may sound like a joke, but it has real scientific reasoning behind it. Our bodies, especially the head, contain a high amount of water, and water conducts radio waves well. When you place the key fob near your head, the signal becomes amplified, allowing the car to detect it from a greater distance. 11. Reset your transmission using the gas pedal. If you've ever driven your car and felt the transmission shift a bit roughly, respond slowly, or behave inconsistently, you're not alone. Many modern vehicles use electronically controlled transmissions, and sometimes these systems learn incorrect driving habits or accumulate confused data, causing the shifting to feel less smooth than when the car was new. This often makes drivers worry that the transmission is failing, but that's not always the case. Before taking the car to a shop, you can try a very simple trick: resetting the transmission using the gas pedal. It's not complicated at all. Turn off the engine and switch the key or start button to the O&A position without starting the car. Then press the gas pedal all the way down to the floor and hold it for 10-15 seconds. When you release the pedal and turn the key back to off, the transmission control module will clear its temporarily learned data and return to its default state. Finally, start the car normally and drive. 12. The proper parking sequence to protect your transmission. Many drivers park out of habit without realizing they're damaging the transmission a little bit every day. You pull into a spot, stop the car, and immediately shift into P. Simple, right? But when the car is on an incline, even a slight one, the entire weight of the vehicle rests on a small metal pin inside the transmission called the parking pawl. The correct procedure is actually very easy. Once the car has come to a complete stop, shift into N first, engage the parking brake, and only then shift into P. Doing this allows the parking brake to hold the vehicle's weight. While the transmission only locks the position, it doesn't have to carry the entire load. 13. The three-stage fueling technique. If you've ever tried refueling and noticed the pump keeps shutting off early, even though the tank is clearly not full, You're not alone. This happens because when fuel flows in too quickly, air pressure and foam build up inside the tank, tricking the pump sensor into thinking the tank is full. There's a simple and effective trick: refuel in 3 stages. First, pump until the tank reaches about 1/4 full. Then pause for a few seconds to let the fuel settle. Next, pump until around the halfway point and pause again to allow internal pressure to stabilize. Finally, fill the tank completely. By splitting the process into stages, you reduce foam buildup, allow the fuel to settle evenly, and prevent the sensor from being triggered prematurely. 14. Turn on the heated side mirrors. On cold mornings or drizzly days, your side mirrors often fog up or get covered in moisture, making it hard to see vehicles behind you. Some drivers stick their hand out to wipe the mirror or crank the AC, hoping the warm air will somehow spread to the mirrors, but that barely works. And having fogged mirrors even for a few seconds is dangerous, because you can easily miss a motorbike approaching close or a car getting ready to pass you. What many drivers don't know is that side mirrors already have a built-in heating function, but this feature is often hidden in the mirror adjustment knob. All you need to do is rotate the mirror control to the lowest setting or switch it to the heating icon, and the heating wires inside the mirrors will activate. 15. Adjust your steering wheel correctly. Many people adjust the seat and mirrors, but forget something just as important: the steering wheel position. If you've ever driven long distances and felt shoulder fatigue, back pain, or difficulty making sharp turns, your steering wheel is likely positioned incorrectly. Adjusting it isn't just for comfort, it directly affects your reaction time in emergencies. Most cars today offer 2 types of adjustments: up-down and telescopic, closer-farther. But many drivers only adjust the height and don't realize they can pull the steering wheel closer or push it farther away. The simple rule is, when your hands are at the 9 and 3 position, your arms should be slightly bent, not fully stretched. If you have to reach just to touch the wheel, or if the wheel is too close and restricts your movement, your position is incorrect. These small tips aren't complicated tricks. They're practical habits that help you drive safer, save money, and avoid unnecessary headaches. From protecting your key fob and checking tire wear to backing up more safely, cooling the cabin faster, and handling unexpected issues, each tip helps you stay more prepared behind the wheel. Apply a few of these today, and you can avoid a lot of trouble tomorrow. Did this video help you? Subscribe to help us reach 30,000 subscribers.